walk into our type of organizations, what do you see and sort of what's that approach you take to help move the needle, help them improve their cybersecurity stance?
Wow. That's a great question. And it really depends upon the organization and where they are in their cyber journey, right? So I'll start it this way. One of the issues healthcare faces, like a lot of other businesses, verticals, it doesn't matter who you are, out there in space, is that what you have is you've got this fascinating range of very large organizations, UPMC, for example, down to single office healthcare providers in rural someplace that are all now have to be tied together, right? What you have to remember is that we are in a world of the weakest link problem. My point is that what we have is we have a world of those with resources, the haves and have-nots. And we have a cyber poverty line in this country. In fact, globally, there's a cyber poverty line, right? And when everything is connected, and by the way, that's the key term here that we're talking about today, Center for Connected Medicine, right? When everything is connected, you are always vulnerable to your weakest link that's going to be out there, right? So what we need is an approach that just doesn't elevate the cyber posture of the people that with wherewithal, but we need an approach that's going to elevate the cyber posture of everybody. And then those common services then go to help raise the have-nots as well, because now you provide a structure into which they can more cost effectively get cyber protections brought to them. And then you get herd, so using a medical analogy, I get herd immunization. So the one that got infected over here, we can go remediate, right? You can put into quarantine and you can fix, and then you can inoculate everybody else because you saw it first over here type of thing.
So one of the initial themes that really struck with me and what we're doing at UPMC is this whole concept around building a cyber resilient enterprise. Yep. And part of that was calling out the cloud and using cloud computing technologies for security purposes. Can you elaborate on that?
One of the problems you have in cybersecurity is that your systems themselves are, let's just say they're very fixed and very static, okay? And as you all know, a fixed static object is pretty easy to ultimately find and attack. So now think about the cloud. What does the cloud do? Well, elasticity is the ability in the cloud, originally constructed as an efficiency play, that fundamentally you only pay for what you consume at the moment that you need it. And what happens is that if you code your applications correctly, you start out in the morning and I've only got 4 people using it, right? By 10 o'clock in the morning, I got 4,000 people on. All that happens is it automatically fires up more capacity, and then it releases capacity as less use gets made, right? So elasticity itself creates this very dynamic environment that you can then think about from a cybersecurity play, which now, all right, go in and say, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to vault my application because I know it's secure. I'm pretty sure there's no vulnerabilities or holes in it, as an example. And now every time I'm going to fire up a copy of this thing to deal with my capacity needs, I'm firing up a clean copy out of the vault. What I'm doing is whatever I fired up out of the vault is unhooked, right? There's no malware on it that we're aware of, right? There's no guarantees in life, as you know this. That's nice and clean, and therefore everything that happens in that space is itself clean as I scale up, right? What I want to do is now take that and really turn it on its head and say, all right, we're going to do this on purpose. So any long-running workload I'm going to preemptively kill, first firing up a replacement workload that I know is clean, so it takes a long time to get hooked. For those of you guys in the cyber business, you know how this works. They probe you, they got to knock on the door, they knock on the door, they find the vulnerability, drop the payload, then expand, horizontally go out, things like that. If I can faster than they can do these actions, I can make it really hard for them to change. But you can't do this in a standard data center environment. It really takes something like the cloud with sufficient capacity and sufficient wherewithal, all these things coming to play that then ultimately delivers you this capability. And now, all right, with different networking, for example, even if I have an event, I can dynamically carve off the bad event, fire up clean code out of my vault, and keep running over here. So that's resiliency, right? Okay. So I can keep my enterprise running. I don't have to take things down in a crisis mode, which is the most expensive aspect of a cyber attack. It's a crisis where everything has to go offline, and what business systems are you affecting? And in the hospital care system, for example, taking stuff offline can make it a matter of life and death, right? So very, very serious consequences in the healthcare environment for these things. I can keep them running over here in a clean environment, isolate off through software networking my bad stuff over here, okay, and then do my forensics and figure out what's going on, whatever you want to be able to do, right? So my point to you all is that these capabilities I just described to you are all real today, and then ultimately if we all act together, then we can actually step ahead of the problem and shift the balance back. It will never be fully in our favor. We can certainly make it a lot harder for the adversaries to keep the advantage, right? Our goal, drive the cost up, frustrate the heck out of them, and those sorts of things like that.
Great.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it very much. Okay. Enjoyed it. Thanks.
Yes.